Yo, what's going on guys? HyperX here. Welcome back to another video for Lost Ark, and today I want to talk about Chaos Dungeons. Chaos Dungeons are one of the many Lost Ark endgame activities, but they are one of the first things, in fact the first thing you will encounter. They are a lot of fun, they are quite quick to work through, and they'll form part of your daily routine if you're someone that wants to log in, complete some daily activities, and make sure you are making the most of your experience. So in this video, I want to quickly go over how to unlock them, what they are, explain everything about them in case you guys are new. We'll be doing this for all the endgame activities, so if you guys are new to Lost Ark and you want to know what the endgame has to offer, then make sure you stick around, make sure you subscribe. We've got plenty of videos coming your way explaining all the different things you could possibly want. In fact, if there are things you want to know more about that we haven't spoken about yet, let us know in the comments down below. But today, we're talking Chaos Dungeons. So, first things first, in order to unlock these, again, you will need to be level 50 and you will need to have got to Vern Castle. In doing so, you then want to continue to follow the main story quest lines. Super simple. You get to Vern Castle, you guys know the deal by now. When you get to a new city, you tend to walk around, chat to a few people, and if you do that, then you will come across this chap here who is standing just outside the Chaos Dungeon location. This sort of quadrant on the map, this is basically where a lot of your endgame activities are located. And when you go here, you speak to him, he will then unlock Chaos Dungeons for you, and standing right behind him is a statue. You can interact with this, and this is how you begin your Chaos Dungeons. Now, Chaos Dungeons themselves, I'll speak more about the actual mechanics in a moment, but broadly speaking, it is an awesome, very sort of arcadey experience. You load in and you basically fight waves of enemies. It's super satisfying because you can just use AoE skills to just blow everything up. And in doing so, you will of course earn rewards. This is a combination of resources you'll need to hone your gear, and also gear in and of itself. And you basically need to defeat the enemies, travel through portals, and complete all of this before the time runs out. Now again, I'll go into the actual specifics in a second, but first things first, let's talk about how this all works. So when you inspect the Chaos Dungeon board, you'll be greeted by this screen. There's a lot of information here, but let's talk about what you need to know. At the very top of the screen, you have a rest bonus. Now, the rest bonus is basically a means to allow you to catch up if, say, for example, you can't play every single day, because you can do 2 Chaos Dungeons a day to get the main rewards. You can continue to play them beyond this point and you will get other rewards, but in order to get like the main things, you'll be doing 2 a day. However, in the event that you can't play for a day or for a couple of days, you have the rest bonus up here. What basically happens is every time you skip a Chaos Dungeon, if you don't do your dailies, this adds 10 points to your rest bonus bar. You can accumulate up to 100 points in total, and for every 20 points you get, it'll grant you bonus loot for 1 Chaos Dungeon run. So effectively see it like this: if you skip a couple of days and then of course you get up to 20, the next time you do a Chaos Dungeon run, you get bonus loot to effectively try and balance out the fact that you've missed a few days, which is quite nice because sometimes these games can be quite punishing. It can be like, hey, if you haven't logged in for the day, you've missed your loot, you're behind everyone, whereas this is sort of like a catch-up mechanic. But do keep in mind, the rest bonus does have a cap, so you do still want to make sure you're logging in every few days if you want to avoid missing out on loot. Now, of course, beneath that, you have all the different continents. To begin with, when you first get to Vern, you will just be doing stuff in North Vern. If you want to unlock the later Chaos Dungeons, you will need to continue to progress through the story missions, and of course, as you encounter new continents, you will unlock additional Chaos Dungeons. Of course, the later ones are higher item level, so again, if you're starting out, then North Vern is where you need to turn your attention to. Below that, of course, you have different levels. In order to enter different levels, you will of course need to be different item levels. So at first, level 1 and or maybe level 2 will be the only ones available to you. But of course, as you then progress through, as you earn more gear, as you hone your gear, you will then be able to tackle the higher levels. Of course, higher levels have better rewards. So ideally, you want to be selecting the highest level you can possibly do. Now, of course, on the right-hand side, you have your expected rewards. This ranges from some gear to some accessories. You have currency. You also have a few rare items, things like cube tickets, boss rush tickets, or other like engraving recipes. Those ones are rarer to find, and of course, they lead to other endgame activities, which we'll speak about in subsequent videos. So anytime you do get one of those to drop, they are actually pretty exciting. But of course, when it comes to obtaining gear, you will get these from your first 2 runs, but once you've completed that, you will then basically have lesser rewards. Now in the bottom right corner, you also have Aura of Resonance. At daily reset, you are given 100 Aura of Resonance, which is enough for 2 entries per day. Each time you enter the Chaos Dungeon, it consumes 50 Aura and provides you with full rewards. But of course, if you do this without Aura, you can still go into the dungeons, and monster kills will still provide you with exchangeable tokens or other sort of resources as well, but you will not get the gear drops. Instead, what you would typically get are things like perception shards or disorder crystals for your monster kills. Now these are still useful because outside of the Chaos Dungeon, if you go over here, there is a lady called Magic Scholar Jenica, and she will basically be a exchange vendor for Chaos Dungeon materials. You can exchange Perception Shards and Disorder Crystals for accessories and Harmony Leapstones. So again, these are still useful. It's also worth noting that when you do run out of resonance and you repeat the Chaos Dungeons, they do have a rare chance of dropping accessories from time to time, but generally speaking, once your resonance is used, you're not really going to be getting gear drops, you're mainly going to be getting resource drops. Still useful, still worth doing, but just keep that in mind. Chaos Dungeons also support matchmaking, so you can either go in solo, matchmake, or you can go with your party, so there are no limitations. Now when you're actually inside the Chaos Dungeon, talk a little bit about gameplay, you'll of course spawn into this area. You will have a percentage on the side whereby whenever you're killing enemies, this will fill up. The goal here is to get this to 100%. Now you also have a timer. This is the timer you have on this particular floor. Chaos Dungeons have 3 different floors with a 5-minute time limit to complete each of them, and killing monsters fills the progress bar. When you get to 20 and 50%, this will spawn portals which allow you to go to the next floor. You do not need to kill all the enemies on the same floor, you can simply go through the portal when it appears. Rewards don't scale based on your clear time, so you can take your time, you don't have to rush. If you die, don't bother wasting your feathers. You can of course just respawn at the nearest checkpoint because they are very, very close by, so you can very quickly get back into the action. Now a couple of things you need to know about the actual mechanics. There are some buffs that are very useful for kind of just clearing through mobs. Make use of your AoE skills of course to just destroy big packs of enemies and kill elites. When you walk over blue wind spheres, they will grant you 40% increased movement speed and increased health and energy recovery rate. Every time you kill elites, they grant you a buff that refreshes the cooldown of cast skills by 40%, including your awakening skills, and they'll grant you 200% increased energy recovery rate. And if you kill the second floor boss, this refreshes all your cooldowns completely. If you destroy rift cores, they also grant you a buff, increasing your attack speed by 40% and reducing the cooldown of skills by 40%. Occasionally, as you're playing through, you may find a gold portal. This will take you to a bonus floor. This is like a treasure floor. These portals can actually be gold or purple, and within them, you can obtain additional rewards based on the monsters that you are facing. You then have these like treasure type monsters. You need to kill them, don't let them get away, and then of course you can gain the loot, and you can continue your run. And that's pretty much it. Load in, destroy loads of enemies, go through the portals, progress through the floors, fill up the percentage bar, and get your rewards at the end. And that, my friends, is pretty much everything you need to know about Chaos Dungeons. They are, again, incredibly fun. They're also pretty quick, so if you're looking for something that you can do on a daily basis that isn't going to take you a huge amount of time, definitely make sure you're doing your Chaos Dungeons because, again, they're a good source of gear, good source of upgrades, good source of materials. So for the time being, that is it. That's your little endgame guide on Chaos Dungeons. Again, we'll be doing this for the other activities, so if you want to know more about Guardian Raids, Abyssal Dungeons, and all the other stuff that you get to do, make sure you subscribe, make sure you stick around because we're going to have plenty of Lost Ark content coming your way. And if you want an idea as to what you should be doing as soon as you hit level 50, make sure you check out this video for more information.